Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to design a responsive drop-down menu in Figma. So, do you want to learn how to do this? Yeah, you can see it's very responsive and it's very smart. So, are you interested? Do you want to learn this? Alright, without further delays, let's get started. But just before we start, ensure you hit the subscribe button, you hit the like button, and if you have any question along the tutorial, feel free to leave your questions in the comment section and let's get designing, guys. So first of all, we're going to create the label. Let's name it schools. Font size of 12 regular. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Okay, let's duplicate this. Let's bring it down. And we're going to use this for the placeholder. So let's say choose school. Okay. So let's import the chevron icon using feather icons. So this is the chevron icon right here. Just click on it and it will be automatically imported. Close it and let's drag it outside of the frame and then delete the empty frame. Perfect. So let's change the font color from pure black to somewhat gray to reduce the emphasis. We'll be using that same color for the shoe school as well as the chevron icon. This is the color, something like this. Let's undo that, change the color individually, and then let's change the stroke color for the chevron icon to the one we chose earlier. And we are going to reduce the size. Let's lock constraint proportions. Let's reduce it to 10. And then we are going to highlight these two, and then we are going to create an auto layout using Shift A, and then we are going to align it to the center left, and we'll add horizontal padding of 15 and vertical padding of 10, and then we'll give it a fill color of white, and we'll change the auto layer settings from packed to space between, and then let's add a border radius of 4, and then let's add a drop shadow effect to make it stand out from the background. Let's customize it from 25 to 15. Perfect. Then we'll have our drop down. Let's create the drop down, the school list. So let's duplicate the schools, come here, so let's add auto layout, Shift A, 10, I believe this is 15, not 10, and then let's ensure it's the same size as this other one, align it center left, add a border radius of 4, add a fill color of white, and let's change the selection colors to pure black so it stands out from the placeholder. So this is going to be the drawdown list item. So we're going to create several of it by holding Alt and dragging out, and then duplicate, duplicate, duplicate. Okay, so let's change the items. Let's change this to University Lagos Unilag. University of Benin, Uniben. Let's change this to bon ye, or let's just say Abia State, ABSU, and then let's change this to Lagos State University, LASU. Now you can add icons to this, but in order to make the tutorial not to be unnecessarily long, I'm going to leave it at this. So I'll highlight everything and modify the space between from 8 to 4, and then I'll add, okay, I'll leave it at this. So let me highlight everything and create a component, Control Alt K. Let me bring this here, the label, bring it down somewhere like here, highlight everything, Control Alt K, create components, and then let me bring an instance of the two from my assets folder, because these are the master components. I'm not going to be designing with this. I'll be using the instances. So I'm bringing an instance of this and an instance of this, and align both to the center vertically, shift this to the top, and next thing I'll do is to create a component using these two components. So highlight everything, Control Alt K. So we have our third component. So this is going to be the defaults instead of component 3. Defaults, and I'm going to rename this to Dropdown items. And I'm going to say Dropdown, not down, drop down. Okay, so what I have right here, drop down items. All right, so I'll highlight this and I'll add property, and I'll click on variants, and I'll add a variance. So since we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items, I'm going to be adding 5 variants. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, now that we have that, let's go to the top, and since this is the default, I will go to the drop down items. I'll go to the drop down items. I don't want this to show in the default state, so I'm going to move this in here, move everything in here, and then I'll give the layer an opacity of 0 to make it invisible. Okay, that's been hidden. And then I'll come here, and then I'll hide everything apart from Delta State University. So frame 2 to 6, I'll hide the layers by changing the opacity to 0, and then this choose school as well. Choose school, I'll likewise change the opacity on the fill to 0, make it invisible, and okay, So this one right here, okay, let me leave that first. Let me bring everything back up. I'm not going to reduce the opacity of this first one. I'll reduce the opacity of this second one. So I'll have to create another variant. Click here, create another variant. So this one will be open. This will be the one that I'll be hiding the layers. So drop down items, I'll hide everything here. I'll do that. I'll be hiding everything apart from Delta State University. So from this to this, I'll hide the layers by choosing 0, and then this shoe school, I'll likewise hide it by changing the opacity to 0, and then this Delta State University, the frame, I will hide the fill color and change the opacity to 0%, and then I'll move it in. Drop down items, I'll move it into place. This chevron right here, I will have to rotate it by 180 degrees. So the chevron right here, I'm going to rotate it by 180 degrees, and then these ones right here, I'm going to hide all the other layers apart from Delta State University. So frame 2 to 6 will be hiding the layer section. Change the opacity to 0, and then for Delta State University, the layer fill will also be set to 0, and the shoe school will also be set to 0, and then the drop down, I'll move it in place. I'll repeat this process. I'll repeat this process for the others. So this one, instead of Delta State University, I will be bringing up the other ones. The next one is this. I'll have to set the opacity to 100% and hide the Delta State University as well. I'll set the layer fill to 0. Then the University of Lagos, I'll also set the fill color to 0% and then move it in place. And then the next thing I will do is University of Benin. So all the others 5, 6 layers will be hidden, set visibility to 0, and then 3 and 2 set visibility to 0, and then for the 4, the fill color will be set to 0, and then I'll move the drop down in place. Okay, let me hide the shoe school first. So the shoe school, I'll set the visibility to 0%, and I'll bring the drop down in place, drop down items. And then the next one is Abia State University. So frame 5, frame 6 visibility be set to 0, and frame 2 to 4, visibility will be set to 0. Visibility will be set to 0. And the appear state university, the key color will be set to 0. And the shoe school will be set to 0. And then I'll put the drop down in place. And then the next one is Lagos State University, which is frame 6, which means frame 5 to 2. The visibility will be set to 0. And for the Lagos State University, the field selection will be set to 0. The shoe school will be set to 0. And then the drop down, I'll move it in place. So as many items you have in the drop down list, you have to set it like this. And also note that I will not be setting the hover state just to make the tutorial a bit shorter. For to set the hover state would have taken a little longer. So now that we have everything like this, we'll have to prototype. So in order to prototype this, we'll head to the prototype tab, and then we'll come here. This is the default state. On click, bring it here. So we change from on click, change to variant 2, and then we change this instant to smart animate. And then we'll also click on here, drop down, on click, bring it this way, also smart animate. Figma will recognize that automatically, and then we'll set this on click. It should bring us here and here. I'm going to change this one on click. Should bring us here, and then we'll come here again, University of Lagos, highlight this frame, on click, should bring us here and here. This one on click should take us here. So we'll just be repeating the process for the other schools. Next one is University of Benin. On click should take us to University of Benin. And here on click should take us back to this default state. And then the next one is Abia State University. On click should take us to Abia State University, which is this one. And on click should take us back to the default state, which is this. Let's close this. And the last one, which is Lagos State University. On click should take us here. And on click, finally, take us back to the default state, which is this. So now that we have this default, you are going to paste it. You can't test it like this, you have to create a frame. So let's select a frame, draw a frame, let's head to design, and then let's go to assets. Remember, this is default, and everything in here are variants of the default. So let's go to assets. There are different assets, so let's look for default. This is the default, so let's drag it into the frame. Let's align it center, and then let's click on frame 7, and then let's click on present. So this is the responsive drop down input system that we just created. So let's test it if it's actually responsive and if it actually works. So click on shoe school. You can see the list of schools here. you choose Delta State University. You see Delta State University selected. We click on here, this list opens up again. Choose University of Lagos, University of Lagos similarly selected. Click on here again, University of Benin, University of Benin is selected. Click on University of Benin, go to Abia State University, Abia State University absolutely selected. Click on here, Lagos State University LASU, Lagos State University LASU selected. So you see, that's how you swiftly create a responsive drop-down menu in Figma. So thank you so much for watching. If you're new to my channel, ensure you subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. If you have anything that you don't understand, please ensure to leave it in the comment section and I'll answer you swiftly. So until I see you next time, goodbye.